Well, True Sports episode 70 is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. The USA soccer team chokes yet another game away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to Panama 1-0 in a shootout. The USA really hasn't won a World Cup since like at least 2 decades ago.
I-
That's what.
we've gotten
Well,
better in
men's men's
yeah,
soccer.
we've gotten better, but we're not quite there yet, to win a World Cup. I mean, we win competitions like the Gold Cup, every now and then and whatnot, those other tournaments, but when it comes to get to the big stage, we always seem to fall flat. We hang in there for the first round and we can, hang around with the group, maybe win the group stage. When we get to the knockout round, then it becomes a problem because you're going against the powerhouses, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and all that, and we just don't stack up to them.
Yeah, USA eliminated from the Gold Cup. Oh God. Yeah, yeah. USA's done. They choked.
Big time. Yeah.
Yep. And then the National League won beat the American League 3-2 in the All Star game earlier this week.
Kind of disappointing by my standards. I mean, I was expecting more of a much more hitters type game, more runs scored. Instead, it turned to be like a defensive game where the National League just took over. So, to my standpoint, I was kind of disappointed.
Hmm.
Not just
Well,
by the not just by the result, but the lack of scoring and stuff. I was expecting much higher.
oh yeah. Well, you got to hand the pitchers and the defenses credit.
Yeah,
Michael Lorenzen got at least one strikeout representing the
right
Tigers.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of the
right.
Tigers, yeah, they've slightly improved, but they still need to cut off more dead weight, such as Eric
Mm,
Haas.
yeah.
Eric Haas really. Let me look him up one more time. His OPS is well below 600.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's what we're dealing with here. The Tigers recently designated Jonathan Scope for assignment after Friday's 12-2 loss, in which Scope did not play.
Mm,
Well, he's slow anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, Scope's been dead weight. He needs to get the hell out of here. Haas's OPS is 542 with a batting average of
Mm.
206. With a batting average of 206. No,
Oh boy.
the batting average is not terrible, but the OPS is.
Gotta work on that.
Yeah, Eric Haas is trying too much to get a hit. You don't have to
Mm.
get a hit to get on base. You can reach on an
No.
error or draw a walk. It's all
Yeah.
part of
Or
getting
get
on
hit.
base, right? All parts of getting on base, right?
Yes.
Or get hit by the pitch.
Exactly. Of course, you don't want that because you don't want to get hurt. But
Exactly. Yeah, just take one for the team. Try not to be a
yeah.
friggin' free swinger,
Right.
just like Javier Baez is.
Uh,
His career
seen that
OPS is
before.
679, a little close to 700, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's sinking like yet another Titanic.
I was gonna say it, but the Titanic.
Yeah, another player that is not developing. He's another he's another chunk of deadweight the Tigers need to dispose of.
Hmm.
But that being said, my Red Wings finally got their man.
Yeah.
They traded for Alex DeBrincat and then signed him to a 4-year, $31 million contract extension.
I saw that.
The Red Wings fleeced and pounded the Ottawa Senators in that trade. The Wings
Yeah.
traded Dominic Kubalik, Donovan Sabrango, and two draft picks for next year: a first rounder, a conditional first rounder, and a fourth rounder fourth rounder.
Good move.
Yep.
Good move.
Yep. I already mentioned to you the Pistons made their trades.
Hmm.
All-Star Thompson has played very well defensively in the summer league for the Detroit Pistons. I saw a couple of his highlights: a steal, two steals, and two scores
Mm. Yeah, I saw. I think I saw some of that too.
both on fast breaks. So How are things looking on your end?
As far as the Yankees and Mets go, well, the Yankees are looking like a train wreck as the injuries keep piling up. The problem is when they had this problem in 2018, we replaced them with good minor league players from our AAA and AA teams. This year, not so lucky. They're not coming up with the right hitters as they're trying to replace our big stars. Aaron Judge, is going to be out for a little while longer, and they're really missing him at bat. The Mets are a sinking ship. They did win five in a row, but now they're back down to 8 games, 6 to 8 games below 500. I don't think we're going to see another Miracle Mets team of 69 and 73, even with the way the new baseball playoff standings right now, because they're not looking like they're. I mean, their pitching is erratic and their hitting not good. So in baseball town where we are, it could be a lot better. Yeah,
Yeah,
weak,
yeah,
weak, weak.
yeah, City Field. Yeah. Well, what about the Rangers and the Knicks?
Well, there's still more coming, of course, with the free agent frenzy. But I still like the Rangers pick they got with Jonathan Quick. They're gonna have him around. So I'm really looking forward to that we get, once we get to October and begin the season. Oh boy, this is something. I mean, because he's beaten us when he was a member of the Kings back in 2014. So now at least he's coming over to our side, thankfully.
Yeah,
And and of course, Porzingis, who used to play for the Knicks, he got a good deal with the Celtics. You can have him. He did nothing for us.
right.
Injury prone. Yeah. Now it's like he's gonna. Oh, he had a great season last year. Okay, where were you on our side, you big dope? No, you had to get injured. Yeah.
We hate when people get injured.
Yeah, but
Was it avoidable or unavoidable?
oh, it
Did
was
you see?
avoidable. Well, I mean, he was injured so much. He was injured for like now for like 2 to 3 months. We were starting to do well, but then when he got injured, the Knicks fell flat. He was. It took one injury for us to from first place to worse in just a matter of like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
He couldn't stay healthy on the Knicks. Now all of a sudden he's staying healthy. Ugh,
Oh,
makes me sick.
yeah, yeah. Well, back to my end. I think I hope to God if the Red Wings have training camp in Traverse City this upcoming fall, I then I would hope at least hope to plan to go there
Yeah.
up in Traverse City up north, just about an hour uh, from me
I
at
was gonna
the
say how
Center
far is it
Ice
to you?
Arena. At Center Ice Arena, Traverse City has really good sweet cherries. You need to come up and try them.
Yeah. Don't they have a minor league team up in that area?
Yes, the Traverse City Pittsbitters.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, you gotta go see them. They have a really good baseball team run by manager Josh Rebant
Ah,
in the Northwoods League. It has no affiliation with any Major League
right.
Baseball clubs, but in their inaugural season, they they just rocked everybody's world and won the Northwoods League championship. I was there at that championship game in Traverse City against the Eau Claire
Wow.
Express. The Pittsbitters came back from down 2-0. They were down 2-1. They scored 2 runs both each of them on an error.
On an era, wow.
Yeah, the Eau Claire Express committed 4 errors total, and the Pittsburghers didn't commit any. Defense wins championships.
Yes, and errors ruin them.
Oh my God, yeah.
4 in the same game. You're not going to win with that. Well,
A
not the,
championship win is a championship win. You got to take it anyway.
yeah.
You out defend. We out defended our opponent. That's how. That's how win. That's part of how wins are earned.
Yes. And of course, no mistakes. I mean, because if you make 4 errors in the game, especially a championship game, chances are you're not going to win.
Hell no.
It's been done, but it's very rare.
Yep. And then they won the. And then they won another Northwoods League title in 2021.
Ah,
2020, the initial regular season was canceled, but they had to
right.
do like a quarantine regular season,
Oh, just like we did in the major leagues.
which didn't really count.
Right.
So the Pittsburghers
Yeah.
actually had won back to back Northwoods League championships. 2022, they got ousted in the first round.
Uh,
I think the Kalamazoo Growlers. I think,
oh,
but the Pittsburghers. I still plan to take my dad to one of those games before they make another run to get that Northwoods League title back up north to Traverse City.
well, good luck.
Thank you.
And to the team.
I'm trying to get Tatum to a game for a Father's Day gift,
Ah,
but he says he's been exhausted. But he
oh,
looked at the Pittsburghers schedule online.
oh, good.
TC Pittsburghers TCPittsburghers.com. Gotta look it up.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being
Right.
said, it's time for your true sports report. Go ahead.
And away we go. Okay, it's going to be a little bit different because there are no MLB games tomorrow. So we're going to check the standings, everything up to Friday's schedule. And here it goes. In the American League East, the Rays, this is just before the break, and it goes like this. The Rays are 58 and 35, have a 2-game lead over the Orioles at 54 and 35. Blue Jays are 7 back at 50 and 41. The Yankees, although decent, are rather disappointing 49 and 42, 8 back by their standards. And the Red Sox 48 and 43, 9 back. So all teams in this division are above 500. Like to see that. As for the Comedy Central, in the AL, the Guardians 45 and 45. The Twins have a half game behind on 45 and 46. The Tigers 39 and 55 and a half back. The White Sox 38 and 50, 54, 8 back, and the Royals bring up the rear at 26 and 65, 19 and a half back. This division is pathetic. Yeah. Okay. To the West, the Rangers 52 and 39 have a 2-game lead over the Astros at 50 and 41. The Mariners 45 and 44, 6 back. The Angels 45 and 46, 7 back. Okay, decent. And then of course you got the A's 25 and 67, 27 and a half back. Forget it. We know where they're going. Over to the National League, the Braves have the best record not only in the National League but in all of baseball at 60 and 29. 8.5 game lead for the Fish. You call them the Marlins at 53 and 39. Phillies, not bad. 48 and 41, 12 back. The Mets, 6 back at 42 and 48, although they did make progress just about a week ago, but still not enough. And the Nationals are 36 and 54, 24 and a half back. Over to the Central, which is a little bit better than the American League Central. The Reds, 50 and 41, have a 1-game lead over the Brewers at 49-42. The Cubs, 7 back at 42-47. Doable, but better get their act together. Pirates, who start off the season spectacular, are now 41-49, 8.5 back, crashed and burned. And the Cardinals, the big disappointment, I think, this year so far, 38-52, 11.5 back. I mean, this is not like the Cardinals that we're used to seeing. To the West, the Dodgers. Okay, here's something interesting here. The D-backs have more wins than the Dodgers, but they also have one more loss than the Dodgers. So, in any way, it's a virtual tie. Dodgers are 51-38. The D-backs are 52-39. See how it balances up. But the Dodgers are ahead by 2 percentage points, 573 to 571. It doesn't get much closer than that, folks. Further down the list, the Giants, respectable at 49-41, 2.5 back. The Padres, 43-47, 8.5 back. And the Rockies are Rocky Mountain low at 34-57, 18 back. The Rocky Mountain low, oh boy. Yes, I thought that one myself, folks. Okay, to the schedule. Like I said, no games tomorrow, so we'll jump ahead to Friday. And it goes like this. Starting at 6:05, the Padres take on the Phillies. Their 7:05 games are the Marlins taking on the Orioles, and the Giants taking on the Pirates. 7:07, D-backs taking on the Blue Jays. Your 7:10 games, the Dodgers take on the Mets, and the Brewers take on the Reds. 7:20, White Sox take on the Braves. Look out. 8:05, the Red Sox take on the Cubs in Chicago. Also 8:05, the Guardians take on the Rangers. 8:10, the Rays take on the Royals. 8:15, the Nationals face the Cardinals. 8:40, oh great, the Yankees go on the road to the Rockies at 8:40. Oh boy. 9:38, the Astros take on the Angels. 9:40, Twins take on the A's. And 10:10, your Tigers take on the Mariners. All right. Yankees going to Colorado. I can't really. Doesn't happen that often, but it's kind of it kind of even looks kind of strange. Yeah. Well, thank you, interleague play. If nobody minds, I'm gonna do some other scores from other leagues. First with the WNBA, as the Atlanta Dream beat the Seattle Storm 85-75. The Dallas Wings just crushed the Minnesota Lynx big time, 107-67. Wow. The Connecticut Sun over Chicago Sky, 84-72. The New York Liberty over the Indiana Fever, 95-87 in overtime. And at the half now, the Vegas Aces are beating up on the LA Sparks, 54-31. Let's put it this way, guys. LA doesn't have a spark right now. Oh boy. Yeah. NBA Summer League got a few games in action here as the Jazz are beating up on the Nuggets, 55-35. And the Lakers lead the Celtics 45-37. Other games that have gone final are the Clippers over the Grizzlies 83-74. The Hawks over the Wolves 99-93. The Mavericks over the Warriors in overtime 98-96. The Pistons over the Raptors 94-90. Good game. The Thunder over the Pacers 98-87. And the Knicks over the Magic 82-80 in overtime. Thank goodness. Yeah, just a few more days and they'll do their final games of the year. And some soccer. Right now, Mexico is leading Jamaica 1-0 in the Gold Cup semifinal. Panama beat the U.S. in a shootout 2-1. Actually, it was 5-4 in the shootout with the actual score 2-1. Other games: the Chicago Fire is leading Montreal 3-0. The soccer team, not the TV show, people. Keep that in mind. Oh boy. LAFC and St. Louis scoreless 24 minutes in. San Jose leading Seattle 1-0, 25 minutes in. Vancouver leading Austin 1-0 at 23 minutes in the first half. And the rest are final as New England beat Atlanta 2-1. Cincinnati beat my Red Bulls 2-1 as well. Minnesota over Houston 3-0. Philadelphia over Nashville 2-0. Salt Lake and Kansas City ended in a 2-2 tie, and the Rapids and the Colorado Rapids and Portland ended in a scoreless draw. Okay, so now on to the news items of the day here. As I mentioned earlier, Boston Celtics forward Kristaps Porzingis agrees to a 2-year, $60 million extension that keeps him under contract for $96 million through the 2025-26 season. You can have him. His agents Jeff Schwartz and Jazz Porzingis of XL Sports told ESPN, I don't know if they're related or not. I'll check on that later. Both sides reached today 2 weeks after Porzingis exercised his $36 million option for this upcoming season to be included in a 3-team trade that included guard Marcus Smart exit to the Grizzlies. Porzingis' rise in Boston after coming off his best season with the Wizards, averaging 23.3 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks. The Celtics are counting on Porzingis to play a major role alongside NBA forwards, all NBA forwards, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, in hopes of pursuing another NBA championship. We'll see. Okay, tennis, anyone? Daniil Medvedev down American Christopher Eubanks in 5 sets in today's quarterfinal matchup. Medvedev now faces Wonder Boy Carlos Alcaraz, who eliminated Holger Rune in 5 sets. At 20, Alcaraz becomes the youngest semifinalist in Wimbledon in 16 years, thanks to today's win. 16 years, wow. Medvedev took the opening set easily, but lost the next 2 as Eubanks unleashed a barrage of first strikes tennis that stunned the heavy favorite. He looked bewildered and out of ideas at one point as Eubanks kept landing shot after shot. But Medvedev, who won the 2021 U.S. Open, began to regroup in a tight fourth set and experience held sway in the 5th and final round as he began to level off. Medvedev now improves to 2 and 4 in 5-set matches at Wimbledon with a strong closing effort. Only 2 and 4? Think you got to work on that, buddy. The NBA has approved 2 new rule changes for next season. The first one was bound to happen as the coach's second challenge, that'll be number 1, if the first is successful in the game, and then flopping penalty, which is held at the meeting during their annual Summer League play in Vegas. I'll go more into detail with that right now. Both rule changes were unanimously recommended by the Board of Governors by the league's competition committee, which is made up of players, union reps, coaches, governors, executives, and officials, etc., to be introduced next season. Coaches having access to a second challenge is something that both teams and coaches have been pushing for years. Now, if a team gets a challenge correct early in the game, they will have a chance for a second one later in the game. However, while the team still retains the first time out, they have to call the challenge. They cannot get it back for the second challenge, even if the first one was successful. Meanwhile, rule number 2 will use to curb instances in what's called flopping in games. Now, when a referee calls a flop, it is considered an unsportsmanlike technical foul called on the offending player's team, and the opposing team will get 1 free throw. Oh boy. Referees will not stop play to call a flop, as they can wait till the next stoppage of play if needed to make the call. Possession will not change, and flopping cannot be directly reviewed by a coach's challenge. They can, however, be added during a review from a different play. And just watch out to be a flop. By the way, the flopping rule is only a 1-year trial basis, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Dallas Mavericks shooting guard and one of the all-time troublemakers in the league, Kyrie Irving, partnered up with China sports brand Anta on a new shoe deal that was announced yesterday. In a release, Anta said Irving's signature shoe and lifestyle footwear will be unveiled next year. Anta also said that Irving will serve as the brand's chief creative officer. Oh boy, what do they think up next? The agreement comes after Nike and Irving parting ways in December. The company had suspended its deal after Irving posted a link on social media last October to a book and movie containing aesthetic overtones. Irving had been with Nike since 2011, and in 2014 became the 20th player to receive his own signature sneaker with the company. Last month, Irving signed a 3-year, $126 million deal to remain with the Mavericks. The eight-time All-Star has a career averages 23.4 points per game, 5.7 assists, and included 27.1 points and 5.5 assists last year between the Nets before he was traded to the Mavericks. The Open, or as they used to say, the British Open, is raising the total purse to 16.5 million, and the winner of the tournament will be receiving a nice cool 3 million. Last year, the total purse was a mere 14.5 million, and Cameron Smith earned 2.5 million as the winner of the tournament. Not bad. The second and third place finishers will receive 1.7 million and just over 1 million respectively. Prize money increased this year at all the major tournaments, with the U.S. Open going up by 20 million, the most among the four majors, with Wyndham Clark earning 3.5 million after winning his first major. The Masters increased its purse to 18 million as John Ram took home 3.2 million for his victory, and the PGA Championship also up to 17.5 million, with Brooks Koepka taking home 3.15 million for his victory. The Open begins next Thursday at Royal Liverpool. Okay, Rangers may have found a short-term solution as they sign defenseman K. Andre Miller to a 2-year extension. The Rangers re-signed Miller, carrying a 3.8 million AAV deal in each season. Finding a new deal for Miller was one of the top offseason priorities, as the defenseman was a restricted free agent who was in need of a new deal. And thankfully, they got it. Just a second here. Yes. And hopefully that's going to, increase their chances of getting more into the later rounds of the playoffs, which unfortunately was done last year in the second round. A first round pick in 2018, Miller came to the Rangers with expectations that he could be part of a group of prospects that could help the Rangers return to playoff contention with the hopes of winning their first title in nearly 30 years. Ugh. Miller, who played college hockey at Wisconsin, scored 9 goals with 43 points, averaging nearly 22 minutes of ice time in 79 games last year. By signing Miller to a 2-year deal, both he and the Rangers should the time come for a long-term deal ahead of when Miller becomes an unrestricted free agent in the year 2027. Hey, 4 years is not a long time when you think about it, guys. Resigning Miller was the latest move in an active off-season for the Rangers. That included Nick Bonio, Jonathan Quick, and Blake Wheeler, along with Eric Gustafson, when free agency began on July 1st. All right. Pelicans forward Zion Williamson knows that his battle will take hard work and discipline, but has admitted that so far his battle has been a struggle. In a surprise appearance on the Gilbert Arena podcast, hosted by Arenas himself, Williamson spoke about his issues that had limited him to 114 regular season games in a career of 4 NBA seasons. He was asked about eating healthy to stay in game shape. It's hard, Williamson said. I have all the money in the world. Well, it feels like I have all the money in the world. I'm at the point now because of certain things. I'm putting back the wisdom around me. I don't want to say older because they get defensive, but I am putting people around me with wisdom. Put me on game to do certain things and go on from there. At last check, Zion was 6'6", weighing 284. Williamson played only 29 games last season after missing with the last 45 with a hamstring injury on January 2nd. Being expected to return around the All-Star break, he re-injured the hamstring and never returned to the floor after that. Prior to the 2021-22 season, Williamson broke his foot and was slated to return that season, but was never officially cleared and missed the entire year. Williams said instead of terms of getting ready for the season, he is following the blueprint of LeBron James. It's more on flexibility and band work. I think with those things, that will keep me on the court longer than losing a bunch of weight and coming to play and credits LeBron for the inspiration. Hmm. Yeah, but 4 years haven't done anything. And watch out that shoe explodes again. Sorry. The Canadiens, or as I say, the Habs, signed forward Alex Newhook to a 4-year, $11.6 million deal yesterday. Newhook said he couldn't be more excited to be with Montreal for the next 4 years and can't wait to get started. I'm sure. I love to play at the Bell Center, and I can't wait to be on the other side this time and not as an opponent. The Habs acquired Newhook from the Avalanche last month. Okay, June 27th, you want exact dates. For a first and second round pick in this year's draft, as well as defenseman Gianni Fairbrother. Newhook recorded 16 assists with 14 goals this season and played in all 82 games for the Avalanche this season. He was selected 16th overall in the NHL draft. Every game. You don't see many players do that. All right. The 76ers have matched restricted free agent Paul Reed's 3-year, $23 million offer sheet with the Jazz, and will retain him. Source told ESPN on Sunday night. Reed signed the offer sheet on Saturday morning as the Sixers waited about 90 minutes before the midnight hour on Sunday to inform the Jazz that the Sixers matched the offer sheet. That's right, he was going to wait till the midnight hour. Oh, okay. Reed now has full veto power and can't be moved to Utah for at least another year. One of the terms of the offer sheet provides a unique twist on the deal. The first year is a full guarantee, but the next 2 seasons at $15.7 million becomes a full guarantee if the Sixers advance to the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Given where both franchises stand, it was more likely the Sixers would have to guarantee both the 2024-2025 and 2025-26 seasons. Talk about a hard bargain. In 4 starts a year ago, that's both regular season and playoffs, Reed averaged 11.8 points and 11.5 rebounds. In his first playoff start, Reed had 15 rebounds and 10 points in Game 4 against the Nets, and they swept in 2. Ugh, it's a horrible series for the Nets. Absolutely dreadful. The Flyers re-signed defenseman Cam York to a 2-year, $3.2 million deal yesterday. York was a restricted free agent, but will now play on a deal that carries a team-friendly salary cap of $1.6 million. The Flyers can renegotiate at any point over the next 2 years, or then he will become an unrestricted free agent by July of 2025. York played 54 games last season for the Flyers. He had 2 goals and 20 points with 69 blocks. Overall, he has 5 goals with 25 assists in 87 games for the Flyers. Yeah. York was selected 14th by the Flyers in the 2019 draft. Last week, the Flyers signed forward Noah Cates, also for 2 years, but at a total salary of over $5.2 million. The Timberwolves have re-signed guard Nickel Alexander Walker. The Wolves announced yesterday. Alexander Walker has averaged only 6 points and shot 36% from three-point range in 23 games with the Wolves after he was acquired from the Jazz in a February trade. He played huge minutes for an injured Wolves squad during the postseason, averaging nearly 30 minutes per game in their first round series against the eventual champion Denver Nuggets. Alexander Walker shows value as a point of attack defender by hounding star guard Jamal Murray in this series while also making 40% of his shots from 3-point range. Now, if this name sounds familiar to you, especially you basketball fans out there, his cousin is Shai Alexander of the OKC Thunder, a first-round pick in 2019, and spent time with the Pelicans and Jazz before heading to the Wolves. On Sunday, the Wolves announced the signings of forwards Tony Brown Jr. and Larry Miller and guard Shake Milton. So you got a little bit of family history with this. Okay. For you Pistons fans out there, the Pistons signed center/forward Isaiah Stewart. Has agreed to a 4-year, $160 million contract extension, as told by Drew Gross of Rock Nation Sports.
I thought it was
Pistons
64 million.
No, I think it's 164 million. I could be wrong.
It's 64 million.
Oh, okay,
actually.
64 million. Okay, I give him more credit than he deserved. Pistons general manager Troy Weaver and Gross completed the deal at the Summer League games in Vegas. That, according to sources.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is the first rookie extension since Gross purchased the team back in 2011, and the first for the organization overall
Tom
since
Gross?
Jason Maxwell. His name is Drew Gross.
Drew Gross.
Yeah.
He was the owner. He's the owner. Wait a minute. Tom Gores is the owner currently.
Right. It was by Pistons general manager Tom Weaver and Gross.
Oh.
First
Troy Weaver and Gores.
Right. Yes.
Tom Gores.
This is the first overall since Jason Maxwell in 2008. Stewart has been a major factor. Rebuild has averaging 11.3 points and 8-point rebounds, starting 47 of 50 games till he suffered a left shoulder injury in March and unfortunately ended his season. The Pistons re-signed center Andre Drummond to a 5-year deal worth $127 million in 2016. However, he was a non-restricted free agent, not rookie season. Stewart is the first non-max contract extension in the class of 2020. So far, the Wolves' Anthony Edwards, Hornets' LaMelo Ball, and the Pacers' Haliburton, and the Grizzlies' Desmond Blaine have all agreed to max extensions. The Pistons drafted Stewart 16th overall out of Washington, where he played for the Huskies coach Mike Hopkins. Okay. Blazers general manager Joe Cronin said that a trade for Damian Lillard could take months to complete in order to satisfy the objective of leaving the franchise in the best possible situation if he decides to trade away one of his best, if not the best player, to wear a Blazers uniform. I think what I learned is patience is critical, said Lillard at a news conference yesterday. Actually, 2 days ago. Don't be reactive. Don't jump on things just to solve a problem. I think the teams that have ended up with the most positive situations post trades have been diligent in taking their time and not being impulsive, or the teams that have kept the urgency under control. So, I think that's how my approach has been, and this will be with this. We're going to be patient, and we are going to do is our best for the team. We will see where this lands. If it takes months to do it, so be it. We'll talk about Victor Wembanyama. Okay, he didn't have not a great first game, but his second game was a much better effort. However, he is done for the summer league, sources told ESPN, with the Spurs deciding on Monday to shut down the top overall draft pick from last month's draft. Despite having a much better performance on Sunday, scoring 27 points, he bounced back from a lackluster game 1. He followed up with 27 points and 12 rebounds, despite losing the Blazers on Sunday and said that after the game he would sit down with Coach Greg Popovich and decide whether to continue to play. I know I have talked to Pop, he said when he asked if he was going to play more this summer. I'm going to listen to what Pop has to say, but I'm ready to make a sacrifice and give it 100%. Though it was not official that Wembanyama would be done for the summer, his news conference said that would probably be the eventual outcome. He had talked about how he would be staying away from the media for the next month and was excited to sit down with the Spurs to map out a plan for the next 2 or 3 months and have a better position when he starts playing for the Spurs this fall. In the first game of his pro career, Wembanyama shot 2 for 13 from the floor with 9 points in his first game, which is far below expectations, though he did have 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks. So overall, not a terrible game. I think maybe just overhyped. It's not a bad outing for a rookie when you really think about it. Not at all. So just I mean, I think maybe they just expected too much for him. So we'll see what happens as time moves along with that. The Bucks are bringing back Jay Crowder, as the team announced back on Sunday. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. After sitting out nearly all of last season while waiting for a trade, the Suns finally sent Crowder to the Bucks at the trade deadline. He played 18 games towards their playoff push, averaging 6.9 points per game and 43.9% from 3-point range. Yeah. All right. Okay, probably the story of the week here. Weeks after West Virginia basketball coach Bob Huggins announced his resignation after a DUI arrest, an attorney for Huggins said he never formally resigned, and Huggins now plans to sue the university if he is not reinstated. Yeah, I was expecting that all along. In response, the university, which announced the hiring of intern coach Josh Eilert, said that they will not negotiate with Huggins and will defend himself against future allegations. Last month, Huggins announced his resignation through a statement and said that his actions did not represent the values of the university or the leadership and expected of his role after his arrest in Pittsburgh for DUI and registered a blood alcohol content of 0.21, nearly 3 times the legal limit in the state of Pennsylvania. The arrest came 6 weeks after he used an anti-gay slur in a radio interview that prompted a 3-game suspension and have his salary reduced by $1 million. According to documents released by the university back on Sunday, however, Huggins' legal team sent a letter to the university president Gordon Gee on Friday saying that Huggins never officially resigned. Interesting. The letter also said that Huggins entered rehab after his arrest last month and intends to return to coaching at the program when he completes his treatment. In a letter obtained by ESPN, David A. Campbell, an attorney representing Huggins, said Huggins' resignation correspondence did not come from him, but as by June, she claims Huggins never formally resigned. Wow. Go figure. Okay, for you Giants fans out there, okay. New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley's availability for Week 1 is in question if he does not reach a long-term deal with the team by 4 p.m. Monday, source told ESPN. Barkley and the Giants have until 4 p.m. on Monday to reach a deal. Otherwise, he will not be able to re-sign with the Giants until after the 2023 season has been completed. As the deadline draws closer, both sides remain deadlocked, sources told ESPN. Barkley finished 4th last season with 1,312 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. He also tied the team for receptions with 57 receptions. The number 2 pick in 2018 has made it clear The franchise tag comes with a salary of 10.1 million and says not desirable. Barkley says football camp last month that if he did not get a long-term deal by the 17th of this month, he would be sitting out the season. He also added that he had not much thought to it at the time. Nobody wants to get tagged, said Barkley. To sit and say here, I was mad, I was upset, I was frustrated, but what really got me was the stories that were leaking out on how they were mistreating and how untruthful they were. Ooh. There still is 5 days to reach an agreement on a new deal that cannot be reached. Then Barkley has a big decision to make. The last player to sit out an entire season was running back Le'Veon Bell in 2018, and we know how that turned out, don't we? Mm-hmm. Cardinals third baseman Nolan Arenado knows that despite his status, he could be heading for the chopping block, just like anyone else at the trade deadline approaches. Arenado said, "It's a business, right? I have been traded once before. I think that shocked a lot of people at the time." He had, "I guess it does not surprise me anymore the way this game goes." He's right about that. Arenado made the comments during the All-Star festivities where he was the only Cardinals player on the National League roster. The usually successful Cardinals are in the basement this season in the NL Central and are 11-point games behind the Reds and 14.5 games below 500, as I mentioned earlier. We are very surprised at what has taken place this year, said Arenado. It's been a rough first half, and nobody wants this. We know that Cardinals fans are not happy, and we are completely frustrated with it. And we completely understand. If they're not happy about it, then you can imagine where we are at. The Cardinals seem to have other players with expiring contracts ready to pack up, including pitchers Jordan Montgomery and Jack Flaherty. Mm-hmm. Jets fans, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The NFL and NFL Films have selected the Jets to be featured on the HBO series Hard Knocks this season, sources told ESPN. The Jets, who report to camp a week from now, have been in the media spotlight this season since acquiring four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. That will continue when the cameras start rolling in force to chronicle the team's experience as they prepare for the 2023 season. The league's criteria for teams to be eligible for Hard Knocks eliminates teams with first-year coaches, teams that qualified for the playoffs for the past 2 seasons, and teams who have not appeared on the show in the last 10 seasons. That left 4 possibilities: the Jets, the Commanders, the Bears, and the Saints. Coach Robert Saleh said he did not want to appear on the program. I have not worn anything like that. I know there are several teams that would love to have the Hard Knocks crew in their building, but we are not one of them. Saleh said that last month. The Jets last appeared on Hard Knocks in the 2010 season. I don't know. Well, it is kind of a way to think, well, boy, we're really that bad, so we got to go on this show? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know if I want my team on it either, if I had a team. Because we already know how bad we are. Do we have to expose ourselves even further? Okay. White Sox center fielder Luis Robert pulled out of the All-Star game after undergoing an MRI on his right calf, according to the team's official Twitter account. Ugh. Robert injured himself in Monday night's home run derby. The White Sox declared him day-to-day in the tweet. He will be really evaluated when the season resumes on Friday when the White Sox face the Braves. Robert said the injury does not look to be anything significant. I felt tightness in the calf during the first round of the Derby, but it did not affect my performance in the second round. Robert won his first round matchup against Ali Rushman in Monday's home run derby before losing the second round to Randy Rosarina. Good hitter. It is not known if Robert had injured his calf in the first round or second. Robert has never played a full season in the majors with leg issues minus the 2020 shortened season. He is second in the AL with 26 home runs. With Robert absent, the White Sox did not have anyone to represent them at the All-Star game last night. Blue Jays closer Jordan Romano left last night's All-Star game with back tightness. The right-hander was entering the 7th inning and retired Will Smith on a flyout. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. fouled with a deep fly down left field and was called a home run by Ryan Blankley, but then was reversed by a replay review by the replay umpire Jim Wolf. I was wondering
Foul.
why that was called. Yeah, I was wondering about
It was
that.
it
Did
was
they call it
close, but
back?
but from what I saw in
Yeah.
the replay, it was clearly foul. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering what was the controversy there. So as review was taking place, the Tigers' Michael Larzian came in relief. Romano threw 5 pitches as the AL lost 3-2, much to my dismay. The Blue Jays said Romano suffered lower back tightness. Romano threw his last pitch in the bullpen before he went out to the mound and felt tightness in his lower back. And we need to take every precaution to take care of these players, said AL manager Dusty Baker. We hope that it's nothing major. At this point in the season, you don't want that. Okay.
No, never.
Yes. No. Well, now as you get to this point in the season, it gets more important. The Oakland A's have begun their relocation process, but it's still not complete at this point. About a month ago, the Nevada State Legislature approved a $380 million bill that would help process a 30,000-seat stadium worth $1.5 billion on the Vegas Strip. The A's have been in Oakland since 1968 and look to break ground on their new venue in time for the 2028 season. Their lease at the Oakland Coliseum is expected to expire at the end of next season, and their interim home until that point has not been decided on, well, just yet. The A's are a league worst 25-67, drawing an average of about 10,000 fans per game, but still the fewest in the league. The biggest turnout of the season was that of a reverse boycott of over 27,000 fans in attendance, showing it to plead with owner John Fisher to sell the team. And that was your big turnout. Oh, boy. Okay. MLB Players Association wants to soften the pitch timer rules as the 2023 season heads to the playoffs, but Commissioner Manfred is leaning towards keeping the current rule in place. I don't think a lot of fans want a new rule that may affect the game in a pennant chase or playoff, said by Executive Director of Players Union Tony Clark. There are adjustments that could be helpful. Soon after Clark spoke to reporters on the subject, Manfred was asked if there would be changes oh boy, to the current rules of 15 seconds with bases empty and 20 seconds with runners on base. The players are not saying to dump the pitch clock, just tweaking enough to provide extra time, especially in high-level situations. They include adding extra seconds on to the clock, approving extra timeouts or disengagements of any number of ideas. Clark said would be giving its players a chance to breathe. Considering when you play 162 game season with a clock, no one is looking to play a 3.5 4 hour game. I don't think just adding a few seconds will create a 4 hour game. And of course, I replied, I hope not. Yeah, keep the clock up. And as we said before, it is a 4-year, $64 million deal for Stewart with the Pistons, not 164 like I mentioned. It is just 64 million. Okay. The Marlins have reinstated right-hander pitcher Johnny Cueto from the 60-day injured list Monday with from a bicep injury. And corresponding moves, the Marlins opted for reliever Seth Reynolds to AAA Jacksonville and transferred outfielder Jonathan Davis to the 60-day injured list. Cueto will not be rejoining the starting rotation right away, according to the Miami Herald. Cueto departed his Marlins debut on May 3rd with a bicep issue where he gave up 4 runs in 1 inning in the game against the Twins that included 2 home runs. He went on a rehab assignment May 6th with AAA Jacksonville, but left with a sprained ankle. This season, he is 0-1 with, now I don't know if this is correct, but it said an ERA of 36.00. I think it's a misprint. But if it is that, that is ridiculous. In 16 seasons, Cueto
If it's
has a
only one
140.
game, then it's prop. Then we'll let that slide.
Yeah,
But if that were to continue,
yeah,
yeah, he should never play again.
that is a one horrible ERA.
Yeah,
I thought it was
that's
a
what I mean.
typo. Yeah, I thought it was a typo, but I guess not. Okay, in 16 seasons, though, Cueto is 143 and 108 with a decent ERA of 3.46 and 356 appearances, and with 354 starts. He is a 2-time All-Star and finished in the top 6 in the Cy Young voting 3 times, including runner-up in 2014 as a member of the Reds. Rounds did not make an appearance with the Marlins. Okay. 4 years after setting a single round record in the home run derby, only to lose to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., bestowed the same fate for someone else as he added to his family's legacy to boot. The son of Vladimir Guerrero, a Hall of Famer, beat out his hometown hero J Rod Rodriguez after a record-setting performance by Randy Rosarina in the finals to win the home run derby, 16 years after his dad won the title. Well, like father, like son, of course. In 2019, as a first baseman for the Blue Jays, Guerrero Jr. set the single round record of 40 and 91 overall, yet lost to Pete Alonso of the Mets. After watching his record being eclipsed by J Rod with 41 in the first round to bounce Alonso, Guerrero wore out Rodriguez, who only managed 20 home runs in round 2, although not a bad effort. In the final round, Vlad Jr. ousted Rosarina in the final round 25-23. And I must say that was a very entertaining home run derby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
41 home runs
Yeah.
in the first round by somebody.
Yeah.
Jeez,
It would.
was that Julio?
Yeah.
Was that really Julio Rodriguez? I hit 41.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, his hometown fans.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, he gave them quite a freaking show, man.
Yep. Yep.
I saw it.
So did I. I wasn't gonna miss that. Northwestern University has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald, sources told ESPN, back on Monday. His firing comes in the wake of a 2-week unpaid suspension that was announced by the university on Friday, after the university commissioned investigation into hazing allegations within the program that were made by a whistleblower who did not give his name. A day after announcing the suspension, the school appeared to reverse course, with university president Michael Shelley saying in a letter to the Northwestern community that made in weighing in the applications of action for Fitzgerald after new details emerged surrounding the allegations. And somebody commented that it was a former player. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. It had to be a former player. Okay, the Yankees are turning to Sean Casey as their new hitting coach, sources told ESPN. According to the New York Post, which first reported the news, it is expected that Casey will fill the role for the remainder of the season so he can better decide if it's a position he would like to remain going forward. Casey was an analyst for the MLB Network. The Yankees fired hitting coach Darren Larson back on Monday, ending their first half of the season. Actually, it was on Sunday. Casey, a 3-time All-Star and a 12-year career, was a teammate of Yankee manager Aaron Boone when they both played together. How about that? Yeah. Braves ace pitcher Max Fried threw 35 pitches in an outing and an inning and a half for AAA Gwinnett back on Sunday in his first appearance in over 2 months. Fried was the
Sean
runner-up in his last.
Sean Casey used to play for the 2006 American League champion Detroit Tigers
I remember that.
under Jim Leland.
Yes. Fried, the runner-up of last year's NL Cy Young, has been on the 60-day injured list as he was recovering from a left forearm strain. Ugh, gotta hate those. Fried said it felt great as he was looking to shake off the rust. He went into the game knowing that he would be done after 35 pitches of 2 innings. He was lifted in the middle of an at-bat when he reached the pitch limit. Oh, come on, let him finish the inning for crying out loud. Come on. Or at least the out. His expected return after the All-Star break would further bolster a team that already had the best record in the league so far. Spencer Strider and Bruce Elder have helped fill the void in the rotation, both earning their first selections to the All-Star game. Free is 2-1 with a 2.0 ERA in 5 starts before starting experiencing pain in his forearm in a May 5th game against the Orioles. Well, when you're in pain, that's kind of hard. But it's play through the pain.
Yeah.
Some players do that. Play through the pain. All right, just a quick check to see if I missed anything else of importance. All right, the MLB draft got underway back a few days ago, and LSU got the 1-2 punch. Paul Skenes and Dylan Cruz, star teammates of the LSU champion team, were selected as the first 2 picks in the amateur draft. That has never happened before. I repeat, that has never happened. I find it hard to believe, but it's true. The Pirates began the draft. Skins, the hardest throwing pitcher, #1 overall, followed by the Nationals selecting Cruz, the second as a power hitting outfielder. Skins' announcement was made by Mariners legend Ken Griffey Jr. and was the first pitcher in 5 years to be selected #1 overall. Casey Mize was the last in 2018. Skins was 12-2 overall with a 1.69 ERA and led all of Division I baseball with 209 strikeouts, breaking the SEC single season record in 122 innings for the Tigers. The right-handed pitcher became the 6th player and first pitcher to win the most outstanding player in the College World Series and to be selected #1 overall in the draft. Phil Nevin was the only other pitcher to do that in the same year. Way back when, 1992. Boy, I'm getting old. His LSU teammate Cruz became the first player to win the Golden Spikes Award for a national title and to be drafted in the top 5 in the same year. Skins was ranked 3rd heading into the draft, regularly throwing fastballs in triple digits and completed with a plus slider that should have been ready for the majors next season. Cruz is a complete hitter and is projected to bring above average defense in center field, had 18 home runs in 71 games this season, and is a 2-time SEC Player of the Year. Nationals president Mike Rizzo called Cruz an impact type of a player and a guy that helps any type of lineup. Yeah, this might be good for next year. I'm looking forward to it. You're right. And okay, got a little bit more here. Broncos running back Devontae Williams, who suffered a torn ACL in Week 4 last season, said back on Sunday that the plan was for him to be cleared before camp and participate in some practices at the team vets report on July 25th. When asked at a football camp that he hosted with team quarterback Pat Surtain will be cleared for camp, Williams said, "I'll be ready to go." Williams, who was a second-round pick in 2021 and made the league's all-rookie team that season, suffered a double whammy with an ACL and MCL in his right knee on October 2nd in a loss to the Raiders. He has continued to work with the training staff as well as strength and conditioning staff in recent weeks. Broncos coach Sean Payton has said throughout the team's offseason program, believed that Williams would be ready for training camp, but today was the most definite response from Williams. Well, back on Sunday anyway. A double whammy though, ACL and MCL. Ugh. That's gonna be murder. All right. Let's see if I got anything else here. Anything new here? Yeah, I'll do this one. Philly slugger Bryce Harper was struck on a surgically repaired elbow from a pitch by Marlins starter Braxton Garrett in the third inning, back in the game on Saturday, forcing him to leave the game. Harper received attention from a team trainer for a few minutes before heading to first. He was thrown out after turning to steal at third. He was replaced by DH Brian Stott in the fifth. The former MVP has been a DH since he returned from Tommy John surgery. And as somebody replied, first Trout, now Harper. Oh boy. Yep. When it rains, it pours, folks. And I don't think we got to this on our last report, but oh boy, Tigers, you got something to be happy about. I think we did this, but I'll do it just for everybody else's sake. They had their first combined no-hitter in Tigers history. Matt Manning pitched 6 and 2/3 innings. Yeah. Well, all I can say is congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Kind of like what we did 2 weeks ago with the A's when the Yankees had a perfect game.
Domingo Germán.
Domingo Germán. Love it.
He did it all by himself.
Yeah. And the thing is that as the game went on, he didn't let up at all. He just got stronger, or felt stronger, that is. Okay, so let's just take over some scores here. WNBA. Oh, yeah, the A's are having an easy time up the Sparks. 93-68, 2.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Forget it. Stick and fork in it. It's done. I mean, really. We'll check some of the MLS scores here. In the second half, at the 51-minute mark, LAFC and St. Louis are still scoreless. San Jose still leads Seattle 1-0, 52 minutes in. At 55 minutes in the second period, Vancouver and Austin are tied at 1 apiece. And the Women's World Cup begins next Thursday, so I'll be keeping eyes on that. And the Open starts the same day. Wow. The Women's World Cup and the British Open start the same day. Wow.
It's a stacked summer, I tell you.
Yeah. And you thought July was going to be a dull month in the sports world, folks. Wrong.
It just keeps stacking up.
Yeah, I mean this is but this is even unusual for summer. For July. July is usually the quiet month of the sports calendar. Not this year and next year either when you got Euro Cup and the Olympics. Boy, I'm going to be busy for the next couple of summers. Okay, now take care of my report. I'll turn it back over to you.
Before we sign off, I was doing public address announcing today at the Detroit Lions Legends Youth Football Camp down in Clare. Today and yesterday. I met legends like Lomas Brown, Mike McMahon, Corey Schlesinger, a tight end, and Maurice Harvey, for a few examples. Yeah, and I think Chapwick. That's what other guy's name was.
I think so.
Yeah, he almost looked like Jim Harbaugh, the current Jim Harbaugh, but not quite. But anyway, I'm gonna go back down there again tomorrow morning early to for the third and final day of that Legends Football Youth Camp. Coach coached by Lions legends and presented by the and hosted by the JC Youth Foundation. So
It's quite an honor.
yeah, first day was
Yeah, quite an
ages
honor.
5 to 10,
Hmm.
and then earlier today the I think 11 through 15, and then the third day even higher ages,
Wow.
like 16 to 20 or so at
Okay.
least. Well, so that being said, that's episode 70 of True Sports. Sunday night is podcast night. We'll be back. We'll be back Sunday night at about 11:30 because Ed Smith and I are gonna be on the
Oh
Michigan
yeah.
Sports Truth podcast starting, uh, well at 10 every Sunday at 10 instead of 9:30 starting this past Sunday on forward. So
Right.
until then, this has been episode 70, like I said, of True Sports for Louis Tenor. I'm Taylor Phillips. We'll talk to you Sunday night at 11:30. Ta ta.
All right, folks.